Okay, in this short tutorial, I wanted to kind of take a part two approach for creating a yield data. Every now and then, you might get data in a different format or flavor, and need to get that prepared and ready to go to do your field calculations. So, in this example, we were given a shapefile, and that shapefile looks like this, and I uncompressed that into my temp folder. And if we drag and drop that in here, we can see that that data was given to me in a geographic coordinate system, a WGS84. But after further inspecting it, we found out that it was in Idaho Central State Plane Coordinate System, which is in Sun Valley. And so I did the same processes that I'd done in the past to establish my project. So I came into our catalog. I created a new folder called Sun Valley. I created a new file geodatabase. I set my data frame. Remember, right click, go to properties, set my data frame to Idaho Central. Then I saved my map document, hit save, and created this map document. And now when I load in that shapefile, that shapefile recognizes that the project is in state plane coordinate system. Itself is in a geographic coordinate system, and so we projected it on the fly, and now I can work with that. So what I want to do here is I want to do probably two things here. One is to create a point feature class out of that before I start to do anything else here. So let's kind of close this out here for a second. And what I want to do is kind of show you how to use the search tool here. There's lots of tools that we can use, and they're all located underneath the systems toolbox that help us do further database management. But if I go to search, and I come up here and I say poly to point and hit find, it'll go out there and find all the tools that I can use to run this kind of process. And I want to, here's one, a feature to point that I want to run. And basically what it's going to allow me to do is take that input shapefile and convert that to a feature class. And what I want to do is convert that inside of my my Sun Valley file geodatabase and create a yield data. So we'll call this yield, just call it yield, and hit save. Well, actually, let's call it yield underscore point location, and hit OK. So it's going to convert that data for me. Oh, and I got an error message here. And we can always open that up and we kind of see what's going on here. And it looks like it's having problems with the centroids. So there's lots of tools that we can use to kind of clean this up. Let me kind of show you the process here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say data, export data. I want to get out of the shapefile format and put it into the file geodatabase because we can do more with it as a file geodatabase. And so I'm going to do all features, same coordinate system as my data frame because I'm in state plane coordinate system, and I'm going to bring this into that Sun Valley file geodatabase, and I'm going to call this yield underscore poly, and hit OK. So it's going to convert that, and do I want to add this to my layer? Yes. So now I can get rid of that shapefile. I don't need that anymore, and now I have a polygon layer that's actually inside my file geodatabase. So if I look at my structure here, we can see that inside my geodatabase I've got this yield poly. Now one thing that I want to make sure you remember to do a lot of times, and we forget, is that we need to associate our geodatabase with our project. So if you right click on that geodatabase and say make default, if this is not grayed out, make sure it is. You want to set that as a default geodatabase. So everything, all the work you do is inside of that geodatabase. All right, so now that I've got that in here, let's try and run that command again. Let's go feature to point, and let's grab the yield, and this time we will call this point data and hit OK. And it'll go through, and it's still causing some problems here. Let's take a look at this. And after further inspection, it kind of looks like that there's some geometry errors, and the way you can find that out is going back to our system tools, and going down to database management and features, and we can check geometry, and I can double click that and I can bring in my yield data and I can hit run, and it'll go out and check the geometry. And there's some things you can do to kind of to get a feel for it. You see there's lots of data it's bad data. We got incorrect ring ordering and a bunch of polygons here. And this is typical. This is how you get some data just comes in bad sometimes. And so what I'm going to do is run another command called fix or repair geometry right here under the same features dialog. So we went underneath a toolbox, system toolboxes, data management tools, features, and inside features is this check geometry and then repair geometry. So we'll hit repair, we'll grab the polygon, and we'll hit OK. And it goes and runs and does its thing. It'll come back with another message or several messages, and that's fine. We'll close that out. And now at this point, hopefully I'll be able to run this feature to point polygon again. So we'll grab that. We'll change the name to yield point, and we'll hit OK. And now we got our point. So three things I did to bring this shapefile in. I brought the shapefile in. I converted it to a polygon feature class, right? So I right-clicked on that layer, that shapefile, and created a polygon feature class. Then I checked the geometry for that feature class, and then I repaired that geometry. And once I did that, then I could run my feature to point extraction tool to create my point feature class. Now, I don't need this polygon layer or this check geometry table that was used in the process. Don't need those anymore, and I can actually remove them from here as well to help clean this stuff up. So I'm going to delete that and delete that polygon. So now I have my yield point data set, and just to validate that, I can open up the attribute table and I can see that it's in there. Now, again, this is not good, right? We shouldn't have these crazy characters in here. It looks like a little bit of mix of Chinese and Korean and things like that. So what I can do is I can right-click on, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this from the table of contents, come over here to the catalog, right-click on this in the table, in the catalog, go to properties, and go to fields, and remove all that funky characters there. And then hit apply, save, and now I can drag and drop that back out here, and now I should be good to go with working with the data. Okay, so that's another way, part two, sort of way of bringing in some yield data. We'll pause at this point.